I'm Cathie MacRooyen and I'm here at the bottom of the Scottish Horse Memorial in Kensington. Kensington, Johannesburg. It's quite a Scots area with streets called Highland and Kirkcaldy and all sorts of interesting names. I think there's going to be a lot more exploring here. But now I've got to go up all those stairs up there, way to the top up to see the actual memorial. The Scottish infantry played a big part in the Boer War, the South African War, where the imperialists at the time said they wanted people with Scotch heritage, Scotch people that were maybe born there or came over to South Africa to come and serve and fight for their imperialists, because actually they wanted the gold. Quite frankly, they wanted all the gold, and they wanted to keep the city of Johannesburg and the Transvaal all into the imperialists' grips. And they wanted the money, basically, always follow the money. I'm at the bottom of the Caledonian Scottish War Memorial, which is quite a fascinating thing because apparently the same memorial is being built by, it's in Edinburgh, and they think, they're not too sure because here the sculptor isn't mentioned, but they think it was the same sculptor and it was shipped over. And it's actually quite fascinating because this whole ridge, this whole area is lots of Scottish names and Scottish heritage, and there's the Scottish Regiment headquarters, and it's just fascinating to see this in the middle of Kensington and Johannesburg. And there's a Celtic Cross, and I'm going to get a wee bit closer, but the stairs are quite steep, you know. And here I am at the bottom of the Scottish Horse Memorial. It was erected here in 1905, but basically it was built to celebrate the lives and to commemorate the lives of the young soldiers that died in the South African War. And also a nice tribute to the horses that were killed in the war. There was over 30,000 horses supposedly that were killed, because the horses would be shipped in, some from Australia and some from Britain, and then they'd be dropped off at Port Elizabeth and then brought up here to fight and pull the cannons and pulled all the things that the infantrymen needed. And it's a tribute to the animals that were built, that were sacrificed. They said that from when a horse landed at the port in PE, their life was only 6 weeks after that, because they usually died in battle. And that's a really grim side of things. But this memorial is up here to commemorate the lives of both infantrymen and the horses. And you can see there's a lovely outlook out towards the city of Johannesburg over there. And the Celtic Cross, I'll show you a wee bit picture up close. It's quite a beautiful thing, and there's some of it unfortunately has been damaged a few times by vandals, and sadly they have to keep replacing it. The first bronze plaques that were on it were actually taken away in the 1960s. They were stolen from the monument in the 1960s. And it's hard to believe that people would actually go and ruin a thing just because it's there sometimes. And there's just some of the names of the soldiers, the fallen soldiers who died from some of the disease or accident or cause of the war, the Great South African War. And apparently 55,000 lives were lost. And then there was also the concentration camps and the imperialists. It's such a shame that there's always this legacy of death in our history, but I suppose it's mankind really. And this Celtic Cross is actually quite a beauty. And the hill, being the Caledonia Hill, has a lot of sacredness to people of a lot of different religions. Because of the cross, they'll come, and the Celtic Cross is original in the Irish and the Scottish Gaelic history, but it does have a nice feeling to it in this ridge, which you look to the south, you see the south of Johannesburg and the market and what would have probably been the gold mines, and you'll see that there's some residual of the gold mine dumps that are gone there in the background. But in yesteryear they would have been the landscape of the city, which really did create the city. So in a way the landscape really has changed quite drastically. But this monument standing here, being refurbished recently, but the original stone that's all about it, it's quite a nice place to pay a tribute. And an interesting thing about being on the top of such a high hill in this area is the lightning. We get loads of lightning, and apparently the stone in the ridge sometimes it draws the lightning because it's a matter of science, which I don't know. But it's interesting to see, you'll see there, up the back of this side of the cross. It goes all the way up, and there's a wee lightning conductor, which helps, because if it could smash this monument to bits, so I suppose as a precaution really, which I find quite interesting. So that was my first time exploring this side of town as a Scotsman direction, and it's quite fun to see that there's so many possibilities and so many different intersections of South African and Scots history intermingled in this young city's life, and I'm really excited to find out more. So stay with me. I'm Cathie MacRooyen.